mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my power over the mountains. I send my power over the sea. And it returns to me. Peace. I send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Yes, and it returns to me. And it returns to me. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. Will you join me? Sing along if it feels good to you. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. Amen. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. We are all one. We are all one. You sound so beautiful. I hear you. I see you. I feel you. It's good to be together this morning, and happy Juneteenth, and happy Father's Day, and happy life. Happy life. It is good to be together. Woo. Ooh, it's so good to be together. I've got one more for you. You can put your hands together. You can put your smiles together. Put your life in this room, keeping it real. How can I serve today, sweet Spirit? How can I serve today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. How can I serve today, a sweet Spirit? How can I serve today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. Who needs my love today, sweet Spirit? Who needs my love today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. Who needs my love today, sweet Spirit? Who needs my love today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. How must I share today, sweet Spirit? How must I share today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. How must I share today, sweet Spirit? How must I share today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. Last one. How can I share today, sweet Spirit? How can I serve? How can I serve today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. One more time. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. Yes, indeed. Good morning.
Good morning, Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. I'm Reverend Jean Bell, and I'm here with an informative segment called Did You Know? Did you know that the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta is a member of the Centers for Spiritual Living, which is a global community comprised of more than 400 spiritual communities, teaching chapters, study groups, and other ministries in 30 countries. These communities teach a new thought philosophy that brings religion and science together and offer spiritual tools to transform personal lives and help make the world a better place. This is done through the study and practice of science of mind and spirit, also known as religious science, which holds that all life is sacred and that each human being is an expression of God. We believe in cause and effect and teach that it is done unto you as you believe. In essence, our thinking and expectations create our reality. Our teachings incorporate the ancient wisdom of spiritual traditions throughout the ages. People of all spiritual paths, whether they be Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, and others, are welcome in our communities. You see, we help people experience a personal relationship with the Creator, promote a community of tolerance, understanding, and respect, and we provide classes, programs, prayer, and meditation, and advocate a safe spiritual community of like-minded people interested in living a spiritual life. Our global vision, a world that works for everyone. The Centers for Spiritual Living is currently led by an executive team that consists of our spiritual leader, Reverend Dr. Edward Vignon, our field leader, Reverend Sunday Cote, and the Leadership Council Chair, who is our very own Reverend Dr. David Alexander. I hope this segment of Did You Know has been informative, and I want all of you to know that you belong. Bye now.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I'm Penelope Williams, your Creative Arts Director, and my pronouns are she, her. And I invite you to stand if it feels comfortable for you, and please join us and sing our opening song, You Are Welcome Here. There is a place in my heart where I can find the truth. I find me in you. A truth beyond what you may see now. When we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. See with new eyes, allow an unfold embrace, let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we can ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Come on now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Yes, doesn't that feel good? So good. Please be seated. Keep those smiles coming. I love that.
Penelope, thank you so much for your music artistry. We just love you. Let's give her a hand. Yes, thank you, thank you. Well, today is the day that God has made. We are rejoicing and so glad in it. Can I get a witness? Again, happy Father's Day, happy Juneteenth, happy Sunday. And good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Idella Veal, and I proudly serve as a licensed practitioner here at the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We are a center that educates and we engage our seekers on their spiritual path. As a member of the global movement Centers for Spiritual Living, our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Our vision is a world that works for everyone. So, whether this is your first time or you're just watching from home or you are a member, the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta is where you belong. We are grateful for your presence this morning. Thank you so much for being here. For more information about today's service and ways to connect during the week, please take a moment to scan the QR code found either on the back of your seat or in front of you or the one displayed on the monitor. Now is the time we recognize our SLCA youth, both attending in person and watching online. As Nelson Mandela said, the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. Please join me in affirming the youth affirmation that appears on the screen. Speak with me. We see and hear you. We bless and love you. We thank Spirit for you. You belong, and so it is.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Idella. Good morning, good morning. Yes. Good morning, good morning. I'm David Alexander, spiritual director here. My pronouns are he, him, his. And I want to wish everyone again a happy Pride. I know in the Pacific Northwest, Pride was always on Father's Day in Portland. And for years, I played this fun little trick, if you will, on the congregation, and that is that we had this big monitor in our sanctuary or screen, and I would pull together the graphics for the Sunday service, and there was this wonderful little video loop for Father's Day, and it was this sort of silhouette image of this father and son flying a kite on a hill, this blue sky background. It said Happy Father's Day, and they were flying this kite, and I pulled it from some Christian website that sells these little video clips for services. You did not come to hear this today, but it just popped in my mind. And the kite was a rainbow flag. And so I always thought, well, this is perfect. And I said, I don't think the people that sold me that little graphic knew, right? And I'm not sure even the congregation catches it. But for many years, that's the graphic we'd have up on the screen on Sundays. So we're wishing all those cities and places around the world that are still, or maybe just starting their Pride festivities, all of that wonderful goodness. And, of course, Juneteenth and Father's Day, which for me also includes, by the way, all the single moms out there. I was raised for many, many years of my life by a single mother, so for any parents that are doing double duty, we bless and honor you on this day as well. Amen? Yes. And so this month we're talking about our bodies. We're talking about the body as manifest in spirit and form, and how to heal all of that. And today's title is The Body Remembers. We're going to be talking about how pain and trauma gets ingested into our body system and stored in our body, and understand some methods and ways on how we can release that and participate in our healing by listening to the wisdom of the body. So our affirmation today is, I feel and honor every sensation in my body. I listen to its wisdom and follow its guidance as it leads me to wholeness. Let's say that together. I feel and honor every sensation in my body. I listen to its wisdom and follow its guidance as it leads me to wholeness. And so it is. All right, let's have a great day together.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. So it is.
Yes, I am so blessed. I invite you right now to be with me in prayer, in affirmative prayer. I ask that if we could sit in a posture of receiving, feet flat on the floor, hands in front of you, and just relax, and let's take in a few deep, relaxing breaths. Let's inhale and exhale. Let's inhale again. And as you inhale, know that you're breathing in the breath of life. Life. Love the life that we're breathing in right here and now. I will speak this prayer in first person, and I ask that whatever resonates with you, if you would receive those words as your own. This is what I know. Keep breathing. I know that the Spirit of God within me is the source of my supply. It is that place, that energy, that vibration that ignites me. The Spirit of God within me is the source of my well-being, my health and stamina, vitality for life. The Spirit of God within me is love, joy. God is all there is, and all there is God. And I unite with this power. I invite that Spirit to come in right here and now, the fullest of it, to be in here, in this sanctuary, in each one of us. We're sitting in a posture of receiving, so we are allowing that Spirit to be in and with us right now. We are breathing in the breath of life, so we're taking it all in. So we are becoming in alignment with Spirit right here, right now. Because God is all there is. And we are one with that forever evolving power of oneness and allness. Feel that with me right now. Feel that flow of life, love, and joy. Circulating through every cell, every organ, every drop of blood. The Spirit of the Almighty is here in this place. I allow it to be at its fullest. And I accept it with the knowing that I came here to this earth fully equipped from source energy, infinite intelligence, to live my best life. Fully equipped to live in joy and love and prosperity. Worthy, deserving of God's best. No doubt about it. Never have to ask about that. That's a given. Every day, all day, forever. God is good all the time. I know that I'm a vibrational being housed in this flesh, in this body that allows me to have a human experience on this earth. And I know that it is up to me to take care and nurture and love this body. Love it. Enjoy it. And I'm very grateful and thankful for that. I know that the same powers that created this universe, all the moons, the stars, the planets, that's the same power that lives and moves and breathes through me right here, right now. I know I'm powerful. I claim it. And I'm always aware of my feelings. My goal every day is to feel good. I want to feel good all over. I want to feel the joy of God. And that's up to me to make a conscious decision. When I get up in the morning, giving thanks and praise that I woke up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When I decide to eat, I eat what I know that is good for nurturing this body that houses my temple. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know that if there's a moment in time when things are not going as I planned, I sit back and think about what I'm thinking about. Sit back and think about, what am I feeling? Because I know that my thoughts and feelings and expectations will create where I am. And I make the necessary adjustments. I choose to make those necessary adjustments to embody the love, the light, the joy, the feel goodness of my God. And in knowing that, I celebrate my life. Ooh, I give thanks and appreciation for all there is. Because what I know that I appreciate, appreciates, and it keeps coming back. So with unwavering faith and absolute trust in the law of mind that always says, yes, Idella, yes, I release these truths knowing it is so, it is done, and so it is.
With every breath breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. Through me.
God is life. I am life. God is light. I am light. God is joy. I am joy. God is peace. I am peace. God is love. God is beautiful, I am beautiful. God is powerful, I am powerful. Of these things, God is, I am. Oh, of these things, I am. God is life. I am life. God is light. I am light. God is joy. I am joy. God is peace. I am peace. God is love. God is beautiful. I am beautiful. God is powerful. I am powerful. Of these things, God is, I am. Oh, of these things, I am. God is beautiful. I am beautiful. God is powerful. I am powerful. Of these things, God is, I am. Oh, of these things, I am.
of these things my God is, I am. All of these things my God is, you are. All of these things my God is, we are. All of these things I am, I am, I am. Thank you. Thank you.
Victoria Peoples, religious science practitioner emeritus. Beautiful, thank you.
Yes, yes, wonderful. Victoria Peoples, Penelope, let's give them a hand again. Wonderful. Good morning again. Again, happy Father's Day, happy Juneteenth, happy Pride. There's a lot going on. A lot going on all around us. And I am delighted to be with you this morning to talk about our bodies and the ways in which the body remembers. Take a deep breath. The body is the one thing in the world that is completely and intimately ours. Right? I said last week it's the longest relationship you'll ever have. It's the one that you have with your body. It's the most important relationship that you have. It's the one that you have with your body. And rather than engaging in a spirituality that denies the body or rejects the body or punishes the body or blames the body, we can move to a closer experience of God by fully engaging the body, engaging it in our awareness, in our acceptance, in our affirmation, and today in our appreciation and listening to the wisdom that it has. Our bodies are magnificent conduits between God consciousness, the intelligence of the universe, if you will, and our individual lived experience. And therefore, they ought to be celebrated just the way that they are, just the way that they are not, and the ways in which they move us through this thing called life. All bodies are good bodies. All bodies are divine bodies. All bodies offer direct and clear paths to the divine experience, if we allow it, if we see it, and if we accept it. And so today the title is The Body Remembers. And what's important as we begin this is that because as I started this series a couple weeks ago, there's a lot to cover, right, in body awareness. There's wonderful articles in Science Mind magazine this month on the body divine, and of course there's the text in Ernest Holmes in Science of Mind of what he says about the body, and we talked about how the body is always an effect, never a cause, and that the body includes not just, when I say body, every time I say it, I'm not talking about just the physical skin bag you're walking around in, right? But the body of experience, the body of life, the body of community. The body is the outward expression of Spirit's manifestation. Ernest Holmes says, all things seen and unseen, the expression of Spirit's intelligence. And so we're living in a body of community called Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta that has a memory, that has an effect, that has an atmosphere to it. We have a body, you live in bodies of lived experiences based on your race and gender and various levels of identity. We live in bodies of identity through communities that we participate in, whether that's Atlanta or, what's the one I love talking about here? ITP, OTP, right? Right? Those are different bodies, right? People, when I moved here and picked a house in Lawrenceville, I met some people in this congregation that went, you went where? Oh my God, I've never been there. Well, it's a closer commute than I had, but anyway. Right, so we live in these different bodies, and those bodies have consciousness with them. And in that consciousness, they also carry traumas and experiences and pain that we've gone through in our life. And here's the very important thing to remember as we start this series, or this particular aspect of the series today, talking about that pain and that trauma. And that is that you are born for this. You are designed to understand, to listen to, and to be able to process the things that you carry in your body. I want you to really get that. If you don't listen to anything else I say today, that would be enough for today, right? Go out to the bake sale and find some goodies. Right? We have a wonderful bake sale out there today. It's for Pride. I know they do the announcements later, but it's helped pay for our booth for Pride in October. Remember that you are born for this. You are designed with the intelligence to be able to, one, listen to your body, and then through that feedback, process it, understand it, integrate it, heal, transform, and grow because of it. So everything I'm talking, when we get into the trauma stuff, I want you to understand you're designed for this. Now, here's how we know that this is true. My first education before ministerial school and practitioner training, well, actually, practitioner training was first, and then I went to college. And in college, I studied child development. My master's, or my bachelor's is in child development and family relations. And in child development, we talk about the importance of imprinting on children, the imprinting that happens through their first caregivers, mothers and fathers or grandparents, whoever's around them the most, and the effects of that in terms of cognitive development. It's even happening prenatally in the mother's consciousness, whether she's in a predominant consciousness of health and well-being, or if she's in a consciousness of fear and concern about her well-being, so much so that that affects the capacity of either the frontal lobe or the reptilian brain, which is the source of fight or flight, to grow and be more prominent in the offspring. And one of the other ways that it's important is that all of our learning from up to about 5 years old, and most importantly between the time that we're born, and even prenatally, up to about 2 to 3 years old is when it's most significant, but it continues till about 5 or 6 years old as well. 90% of the learning that is happening at that stage of life is nonverbal. Nonverbal. What does that mean? It means it has only 10% of it has to do with what the child is hearing. All the rest of it is imprinting through what they're seeing, what they're witnessing, what they're experiencing, and most importantly, their caregivers, not what they're saying, but how they're behaving. Which simply means, for you and I in this room today, that you have stuff that you're carrying, right? Because the first thing you do when you kind of learn that information, oh my goodness, like 90% of it is for children is the importance of how we're being, which is why children are such great barometers of character and safety, right? A person could come into the room and the kid could be like, yeah, nuh-uh, no. And you think, what? No, this person is, right? You have no idea, but the kid knows, right? And so the first thing that comes up often when people hear that is they go, oh my goodness, what did my parents do? What have they done to me? Or what have I done to others? I wasn't as integrated being when I was raising my children, or whatever the case may be, right? And so all that means is that we all have stuff. Congratulations, right? You all have stuff. We're all carrying something, right? But you're designed for that. You're designed to carry that, to listen to it, to learn from it, and to grow from it. So it's not a good or bad thing. It's a part of the design of who you are, right? So we all have things to process, but we're built to do it, and hopefully today and after today, to do it a little bit more consciously. Last month, our theme was about emotions, and Idella in the prayer very powerfully talked about feelings and emotions, and and all of that. We talked about how feelings carry intelligence with them. They carry information with them. And when we give ourselves permission to feel emotions, to truly feel what's happening in the moment, or when a memory surfaces, or whatever the case may be, then what we do is we make space to receive the intelligence of what that feeling is carrying to us, right? And how important that is for the integration of our growth and well-being. And by the way, I've been putting together some resources for you. I forgot to mention this last week on the blog on our website. Did you know we have a blog? We have a blog. We have a blog on our website. You could find it under, I think, About Us, and find the blog. And or I'm posting it pretty regularly on Facebook as well. And for the last 2 months, I've put together, I did it at the beginning of this month, and then I retroactively did it for last month. So, for last month, for emotions and mental health, I put together a list of resources, books, videos, etc. And then for this month, for the body, list of books and authors. Some of them are our own practitioners, Allison Hilber and Georgina Eggleston, who are remote practitioners that are part of SLCA, have written books about the body and done and produced work about the body. Some local Atlanta authors, one who's going to be here next week. I'm going to quote today, and you'll hear about her work, and she's going to actually be here with us next week. So lots of great stuff. So if you want to learn more, integrate more, carry the learning forward, check out our blog. It's a great thing to share with other people as well. And I just want to mention that that's there. So when we talk about feelings and information that we're carrying through our experiences, sometimes, have you noticed, sometimes feelings get stuck. Right? We become afraid to fully feel that feeling. We get afraid, it gets triggered in us, and then we seize up. We don't want to fully let that one out because, oh my God, if I let that out, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't control it. I don't know what other people are going to think. I don't know how I'm going to be judged. I don't know how, right? Which often has to do with something somewhere where we weren't given permission to feel that feeling, somewhere in our upbringing, right? Here's the thing, the body remembers. Every time we suppress, every time we deny, every time we reject, every time we do this, the body remembers. And while the mind has an incredible ability to deflect and to avoid and to create narratives that will shield us from painful experiences, have you noticed? Your mind is really good at that. Right? You create a story that will make you the center of attention, that will make you predominantly right in all circumstances. Have you noticed? Haven't you noticed that you're right in your life story? Right? Like you're the star. It's everybody else who got it messed up. And if they had just done this or just done that or just turned that way or said this, right? You'd be a little bit further along than you are right now. Am I right? That's designed. It's designed that way. Your mind, your ego interplay with each other, and they create a narrative that protects you, that makes you look good and makes you feel good. All right? So the mind has incredible capacities to deflect, avoid, and create narratives that might shield us from painful experiences of our past. But the body remembers. The suppressed emotions, experiences, and etc. can get stored in our physical bodies, but also in our collective body. And because we know that the body is always an effect and never cause, it means that the body is a feedback mechanism. That's the most important thing we got to remember. It's always in the feedback position. Body, Ernest Holmes says, body is always effect, never cause, which means the body is the outpicturing of that which is happening in consciousness. Physical body, bodies that we live in terms of geographic, bodies of identity, etc., all forms of body, are forms of expression of the consciousness that's behind them, and they're always giving us feedback. So we tend to think, especially in New Thought, we tend to think of it in a sort of a one-directional mechanism. We tend to think, well, how the mind affects the body. My thoughts create reality. My affirmative thinking creates my attitude, which affects my experience of my day. So I start my day with meditation. I start my day with prayer. I start my day with good thoughts. And that will have an effect on the body of the experience that I have that day. We tend to think of it in this one-directional means. But the symbol, the science mind symbol, which is that thing with the V in it and the 3 sections, right? When I showed it a couple of weeks ago, showed the 3 sections, spirit, mind, body. That V has 2 parts to it. It's not just one direction. It's also the other direction as well. So it's not only that mind shows up in form, but that then form has information as feedback that then influences our mind or our consciousness. What does that mean? It means that, yes, your thoughts, attitudes, and beliefs and how you start your day can affect your experience that day, but it also means that what you encounter and experience that day may reinforce or cause you to double down in your mind a belief that you have about yourself or about the world or about other people or about those people or about those things or about that, right? So the feedback comes back and it causes us to reinforce, double down, and duplicate thoughts that we're having in our mind. So it's a two-way street. We have wonderful creative minds, we have wonderful responsive bodies, but we have a wonderful creative bodies and responsive minds. It's two-way reciprocal dance. So it's important to be careful with the instructions of the imprint that we give to our mind. It's important to remember that our bodies will store emotions and thoughts that we push down, that we oppress, personally, societally, ancestrally, right? Trauma can be stored in not only our individual bodies, but in the collective bodies that we move in. And ignoring them or using spiritual bypass to gloss over the experience rather than to truly feel it, rather than to give permission to let it out, only causes the wound to fester. It only causes the thing to grow until it gets the attention that it needs. When we bypass our traumas, we're telling our bodies that they cannot have freedom. Right? Let me say that again. When we bypass our traumas, we're telling our bodies that they cannot have freedom. When we choose to ignore it, when we choose to not look at it, when we buy into the narratives that keep us protected and shielded and say, well, it was just painful, let's just sweep it under the rug, something they're really good at in American history, we go, well, that was a really long time ago. Like, can we not focus on how bad it was? Because, gee, that's not happening right now, is it? And every time we do that, either at the individual level or the societal level, what we're actually telling the body is that you can't be free. It's not safe. You can't be free because you can't. Why would I say that? Because if you can't feel all of your emotions, then you're not liberated. Right? If you don't have permission. Haven't you noticed that in relationships? If the person is a great person, they cook great food and they take care of me, and they do. Yeah, but do you have permission to be your whole self? Haven't you noticed that that's really at the root cause of every relationship that hasn't worked out? Right? Now, you put up with somebody who cook a bad steak if you give her permission, or whatever it is you're into. I don't know. I don't want. Right? Right? If you have permission to be your full self. Haven't you noticed? Because that's what liberation is. That's what freedom is. It's the permission to be my full self. But every time I don't deal with my feelings, every time I don't look at the traumas that I might be carrying from wherever they are, then I tell my body, individually and collectively, that it can't be free. And that tends to manifest itself then as disease. It tends to manifest itself in chronic conditions in our individual selves and in the collective bodies that we move in. And so the most important thing that we can do is listen to the feedback that the body is giving us. When we look at that on the collective level, what we see is that the pain that we see in the world manifesting today, the pain that's outpicturing as effect as war and oppression and anger and violence and phobias of every kind that you can imagine, are all signals. They're all pain body signals that say that there's something to be healed. There's something to look at. There's a feeling and there's a trauma and there's original separation of source, a separation of belonging, a separation of feeling accepted. And there's a rejection that has taken place somewhere at the core of that thing, right? That needs to be healed. And so every moment, every every shooting, every act of violence, every form of legislation that tries to regulate and punish bodies that are different than whatever we consider to be the norm. Those are all things that are manifesting as signals that are saying loudly, heal, heal, listen. There's still pain here, right? How would we know? How would we know? What would it look like if we were really listening to our bodies? There's a really easy way to tell. And that is that if you're really listening to your body, you won't victimize it anymore. You'll see everything that's happening in context. If you're really listening to the body, individually and collectively, then you put everything in context and see the whole picture. Because the intelligence that the body has is probably going to go something like this. Psst, hey, this isn't your fault, but you need to look at this. Right? Here's what I need you to feel. Here's what I need you to release. And here's what I need you to do. And if you can do that, then other things will fall into place and other things will take care of themselves. But I'm going to need you to do that. Right? And then we don't do it, and then we suppress it and we push it down and we try to sit on it like sitting on a beach ball in a pool. You ever try that? Right? You can't be too successful at that for very long. Right? That thing's eventually going to pop out somewhere. It's going to make a big explosion when it does. And that's exactly what happens in our collective body. We see these explosions of anger. We see these explosions of legislations against bodies of difference. We see all of these things that are all acting out as the pain that hasn't been looked at, the trauma that hasn't been healed, the thing that hasn't been felt. Because what trauma is, when we're the whole concept behind being triggered and re-traumatized by something, is that one of the resources on the blog is several books by I think it's Peter Levine, who has written a lot about trauma work. And he noticed that in animals, that when animals are traumatized, let's say a certain animal is chased by a predator, and then it escapes and it gets away. They've noticed that what the animal will go do is, in the safety of no longer being in the presence of the predator, they will actually sort of neurologically and physiologically release the trauma. They'll continue to shake and like get it all out. They literally go through the feeling. They're safe. They know that they're safe. They get to a safe space. They know the predator is gone. And then they actually chemically release the trauma. And what they've noticed is what happens there is that there is a neurological reset of the nervous system. And what they notice is in humans is we do the exact opposite. We get free from the trauma, we get away from the threat, and then we bottle it up. And then we put it in a little thing, and then we say, "Oh, never going to look at that again." And anything that reminds me of that or gets me close to that is the enemy and must be avoided at all cost. Right? And it's effectively the essence of sitting on the beach ball in the pool. It's not going to work. It's going to have to come out. And so a lot of healing trauma work in individuals is to give safe space, right? Therapy and all kinds of body somatic experiences that are about giving permission for the body to feel what it needs to feel. Because when it can chemically release that information, then the nervous system is able to reset itself. Right? So we have work to do, yeah? Oops, that's the wrong way. This is Dahlia Kinsey, who's the author of, she's local here in Atlanta, author of Decolonizing Wellness. You'll hear about her in the announcements more thoroughly in the longer subtitle of the book. She's going to be here next week for a book signing because it was one of the resources that came to me as a result of doing this research, and I was so excited that she was here and available, so we're able to reach out, and she'll be here. Excuse me, she doesn't do pronouns. Dahlia. Dahlia will be here. You all got to practice that, right? Dahlia will be here next Sunday. And Dahlia says, your existence is a testament to the body wisdom of your ancestors. You exist because your ancestors' bodies had the wisdom to keep them alive in hostile and friendly environments alike. Your existence. And so this is to reinforce this idea that I want you to walk away with, is that you have the ability to heal. Your body is wise. Your existence is a testament to that. Right? Your ancestors escaped from lions and bears and tigers and dinosaurs and all kinds of other things. Oh my. And wars and famine and floods and all kinds of other things. Right? Your existence is a testament to the wisdom of your body and to the body of your ancestors. Your body is more qualified and more informed and more vested in your wellness than anything else, especially Western medicine. Now, Ernest Holmes says, because we aren't walking on water, right, we take a boat. He says, because we're not walking on water, we take a boat. And we take a pill if that's necessary or helpful, right? So I'm not saying, don't participate in Western medicine. But what I'm saying is the wisdom that's in your body is more vested in your wholeness. It's more vested in your well-being. It's more vested in your healing. And it has more information, and it is more qualified to tell you how to move from where you are to where you want to be in every regard, right? Because your existence is a testimony to that. Our body, remember, is sometimes things that we don't even know that it's carrying. And then I want to talk about what it means to, again, to look like, what it would look like if we're really listening to our bodies. But real quick, a story about how our bodies are carrying things that we might not know of. Some of you know I went recently on a trip, our honeymoon, and we went to Scotland. And my father's side of the family, who I never knew growing up, knew his name, but was never present in my life. And I never knew any relatives on that side, no brothers, sisters, his family, etc., for the vast majority of my life. On my mother's side, I've been very connected to my ancestry there, both immediate family and as well as the longer history of ancestry. And many, many years ago, got access to a bunch of records. I had a great aunt who was really into ancestry, and she was doing all this stuff by hand and writing to libraries and hospitals and cities and putting all these things together. And she had this huge trunk of all of this ancestry on our German side of our family. And I was so captivated by it, and it was all sitting in this trunk, kind of shoved up under this bed or in a closet in a farm in Wisconsin. And I thought, I don't want this to disappear. My cousin, who's the daughter of the mother who was really into it, really wasn't interested in it. She didn't want the trunk to go away. I said, can I have it? She said, no, it's my mother's. I'm like, okay, well, but you don't want to do anything with it, so can I at least take it to Kinko's? Remember Kinko's? This tells you how old the story is. But so I grabbed all the stuff. We got in the car. We went, from the farm into the city, and copied as much of the stuff as I could to take home. And I began putting it in Ancestry and other family, other kind of family tree websites, and then began adding to the research and finding new generations and new relatives online, and then going back and filling holes, and then branching, and eventually stumbled into information that led me to my father's side, which I never knew about, and was Scottish, of Scottish ancestry, and several generations in this country. And so when I went back to Scotland, all that to say, when I went back to Scotland, I was able to go to the place, the last known place where I think it was my great-grandfather, or great-great, something like that, the last place in the census where he was in the city of Glasgow. And I say the last place, he was 5 years old at that time, and the next place he appears in the census is 14 years old, back towards, in the countryside, back towards Dundee, but he appears on the census as the farm servant. And so something happened between 5 years old and living in an area of town that was the tenement poor housing, and 14 years old, where he was sent to this family sent to this farm as the family servant, not with his biological parents. And I was able to stand on that street, and I was able to just walk down that street and say, and look at where the house should have been, which is now a field, and say, I don't know what happened here, but this is the place where some powerful decisions, some important decisions, some heavy decisions had to be made, right? I don't know all the factors that went into it. I don't know all the history, but I know that from this place, the family made a decision that said either this is where you're going to have to live. They either sold him into servant or I don't know, but something. And from that place, I know that he then went into basically the South African Constable, which is sort of like the British Armed Forces, and served overseas down in South Africa for a while, then came back, got married, and then came to Chicago, and then that's how that family line eventually comes to me. But in that trajectory, there are 3 generations of fathers abandoning their sons, right? And so I was able to just stand in that space. I didn't have to have all the information. I didn't have to have all the records of the research. A lot of it's missing and can't be tracked down. But I was able to just stand in that space and do a prayer and be a place of forgiveness and a place of love and a place of connection. I said, the body remembers, and I was able to let it go through me in a way that I never was able to do before. And it made so much sense, and I've told the story before when my wife and I found out that when she was pregnant with William, we found out it was a boy. It made so much sense in that moment. Everything in my body remembered. We had an older boy, my wife's first son. So we said, well, we have a boy. It would be really great to have a girl. So we were focused. We were like, we had a name picked out. And that's just the way it happens, right? When you're so determined, right? The universe goes, no, you don't get quite to pick that. And so when it became a boy, we were like, well, great, that's wonderful. But I was rushed into this body sensation of course, because there's 3 generations of trauma. There's 3 generations of abandonment. There's 3 generations of a disconnect between the father-son relationship that goes all the way down to me. And it's now my task and my responsibility to heal that. Right? So I was able, over these 5 years, to, of course, be present with my son and be a good father, but then able to finally stand in that place in Scotland and begin another layer of that healing. Your body remembers. So what does it look like? Your body is more qualified and more informed, invested in your wellness. This is why it is so important when we're doing community work, when we're building things like spiritual communities and we're building things like cities and neighborhoods and places to live. This is why diversity and equity work is so important in the body of God and the body of wholeness and the body of creation. Because if bodies, watch this, if your body is more qualified to be an author and a voice in your own healing, then it's also true that various forms of our collective bodies are more informed and more qualified to be the voices of their own healing, right? So female bodies are more qualified. Come on, somebody. Yeah. Female bodies are more qualified to legislate female bodies than a bunch of old white men in the Senate, right? Right? As an example, right? Black and brown bodies are more qualified to speak about what works for them in their communities than non-black and brown bodies, right? Queer and gender diverse bodies are more qualified to speak about their experience, trans bodies, so on and so forth. So that's why it's so important, right? Going on down the list at every level, right? That's why it's so important. When we're seeking a world of wholeness, when we're seeking the kingdom, or the kingdom as I like to call it, when we're seeking communities of wholeness, what is a city or a municipality or a community or a neighborhood but a place of connection and healing? That's why it's so important that we must have diverse and different voices at the table. because every body that represents a different aspect of the infinite humanity and the infinite expression of Spirit's body brings a different voice to the table, and each of those voices are more qualified than any of the other voices at the table to say, this is what this lived experience looks like. This is what health and wholeness means to this body of people. This is what, you see, on down the line. This is why diversity is so important in the work that we're doing. And so what does it look like again? If we were really healing trauma and we were really listening to the body temple, what would that look like? I said if we were listening, we would stop victimizing the body, and we would start contextualizing and seeing things in their proper context. It means things like this. We would stop saying things in medical books and things like this. We would stop saying, well, maybe it's just a thing. Maybe, we would stop saying things like, well, it just statistically seems to be that African-American bodies are more prone to diabetes. Right? Maybe we would stop saying things like that if we were really listening to the wisdom of the collective body, because we'd be seeing things in a larger context and say, well, actually, maybe what it is that black and brown bodies are more prone to live in places that are food deserts, where the only thing available to them are, no offense, Chick-fil-A and Wendy's and McDonald's. And maybe if that wasn't the case, maybe if they had fresh fruits and vegetables more readily accessible, right, then maybe the long-term outcome of the physical body would be different. So it's not about blaming the body, it's about understanding if you're listening to the wisdom, the feedback is this thing is showing up in this population. But what is the larger context that's contributing to it? Maybe, right, as we learned in Flint, Michigan, maybe if we could replace all the lead pipes in the houses and the schools, right, we wouldn't have these learning deficiencies in the kids. Is there something about living or being a kid in Flint public schools that causes learning deficiency? Of course not, except the pipes in the drinking water, right? So when we begin to stop victimizing and learning and listening in context, then what we do is we shift from victimization to responsibility on the collective level. We begin to see everything in its proper context, that there is only one mind here, there's only one God here, there is only one thing happening here, and the body is giving us feedback that will lead us to our liberation and our healing. This, to me, is kind of what it would look like. Healing of trauma kind of has these parts. And these, I'm not an expert, I'm not a medical, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, but this is what, as I've been researching and thinking, this is kind of the process that makes sense to me. That first you have to have the removal of the threat, right? You have to not be in the presence of whatever it is that's causing the trauma, the initial violation. The threat has to stop, right? And then there has to be the reset of the nervous system, which incorporates that the completeness of the feeling, that it has to be okay to fully go through. And so this is I put this together so that you can kind of sense for yourself. Am I in a physical threat? Is there something that, a trauma or something that's happening that my body is reminding me of? And is the physical threat there? For most of us, the answer to that is probably no, right? Unless you're in an abusive relationship or a situation that is dangerous, then I highly advise you to, seek professional help for that and get out of that environment. But for most of us, it's memory, right? It's triggering. So the physical threat isn't there, but there's not the presence to be able to feel completely, allow the feeling to go through so that the nervous system can be reset. Very important. Then there has to be a commitment to change behavior, a new commitment to security, a sense that going forward, this won't happen again. Sometimes at the collective level, that means legislation or that means a change of something, but there's a commitment to security and wholeness and wellness being set. And then there's liberation through celebration. That's why holidays are so important, right? Juneteenth or 4th of July or Veterans Day or Memorial Day weekend or all of these things that we celebrate, those are moments to come together and in community to celebrate, to remember, and then to celebrate. And those are important things because when trauma happens in a collective space, right, the healing also happens in a collective space. Collective trauma actually requires collective healing. And there's a lot of collective trauma that's been happening generationally in America. Right? And so it's important to have holidays like Juneteenth and others that I mentioned to create that space where we can get together and fellowship and celebrate and be free, because it helps reset the nervous system and it helps set a new pattern that all is well and we can live in a better world. But here's the thing. Our American consumerism, commercialized-based society really likes to jump to number 4, right? It really loves to just, right? So Juneteenth became a national holiday last year, and this year a couple of companies, I won't mention their names because I don't want to get in trouble on our broadcast here, right? But a couple of companies decided to do things like put Happy Juneteenth on bottles of Vaseline. Yep. And ice cream. Just 2 examples that I know of, right? And they immediately got pulled from the shelves, because as soon as they hit the shelves, of course, social media, Twitter, everything else just went on the attack. Like, what TF is this, right? People weren't having it. Because we immediately like to go to the celebration part like it's all good. But that's like going to a barbecue and your abuser is the one flipping the burgers, right? You're not going to have a good time. It doesn't work, right? Because these things haven't occurred yet. There hasn't been the removal of the threat. There hasn't been a sense of safety to completely feel the feelings and allow the nervous system to reset itself. And there's been no commitment to changed behavior. And so, as I said, if we're really listening to our collective bodies in society, then what listening would look like is the removal of stigma, the removal of blame and victimization, and the reset of commitment to healing and wholeness. So these companies, again, that I'll remain nameless, but these companies, what it might have looked like for them to celebrate Juneteenth would be to have a commercial or maybe even a flyer or something on their websites, or even when you walked into their stores, to say, hey, we're celebrating Juneteenth, and you know what? We really want to honor this moment and occasion, and here's what it looks like. Right now in our company, right now in this place, X percentage of our workforce is African American. X percentage of our workforce is African American in upper management or in senior leadership, in powerful, or sitting on the board of directors or trustees or the foundation or whatever the case may be, right? Here are the statistics. Here's where we would like it to be. Right? Here's where that is relative to scale to where our company is, or workforce population that we have access to, or collectively in America, population-wise, or simply the goal that we have. And in the next 5 years, we're committed to making that grow, right? That's what it would look like to celebrate Juneteenth. Not buying ice cream and Vaseline with some sticker on it, right? You see, when we listen, then liberation and celebration can actually really mean something. It can change something. But the problem is that really diving into that somatic feeling, pain, sorrow, and trauma can be very terrifying for us. It's understandable to want to push it away and do the complicated mental gymnastics to avoid these things. But remember, feelings are feelings. They're not thinkings. When we feel our feelings, did you catch that? When we feel our feelings, they give the information that they've been given permission, that they've been sent to give. And then they're free to go on their way, right? But restoration rarely is effective without reconciliation. When we jump to want to restore things and we haven't really looked at the painful thing first, then our efforts in restoration aren't going to be very successful. We have to reconcile first. We have to look the thing in the eye. We have to call a thing. And that's what we have such a weak muscle around collectively in our society. But that's why places like Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta are so important, because we're not afraid to name a thing, to do the hard work, to pull back the curtain, to call it what it is. Because we know that even in the midst of that, there's something greater calling us forward. That there's a greater capacity within our body temple, collectively and individually. And we go back to where we started, that we're made for this, that there's a place within you that is whole and perfect and complete. The whole premise of our practitioner body of work and praying with a practitioner and the healing movement that began, the mind cure movement from Quimby that I've talked about for the last couple of weeks, all began with the premise that there is something within you that is whole, perfect, and complete, that has never been damaged, never been harmed, never been touched, never been violated in any way. And that thing is actually the real thing that you are. It is the Spirit. It is the I am. It is the eternal essence. Everything else is just curriculum for your development. Everything else is just stuff that you've been going through. Everything else is just moments in time and history. Yes, it's real. They're real experiences. They're real and valid in the level of the body, but the real you is eternal and is beyond body, temple, time, and space dimension. It is the essence of who you are from time immemorial, going forward into infinity and beyond. Oh, it's the Buzz Lightyear of your soul, right? Hold on, right? I have the privilege in a couple of weeks, I'm going to Oregon we bought a camp. We did a thing, CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living as a movement, had the opportunity to purchase this property in Oregon, 32 acres in Vernonia, which is halfway between Portland and the Oregon coast. And so we now own and operate Camp Cedar Ridge. And our CSL team, yeah, it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. SLCA and you helped contribute to that, to financing of that. And so the CSL teams will have their first team camp. It's going to operate year-round as still a basketball camp and camp for other organizations and events, and corporations use it all year long. But our teams will have their annual teen camp, their experience there in July. And they've invited me to come to help, as now that we are the owners of the space, to do a consecration of the land and of the space and all of that. And so as we were talking with one of our ministers who's Native American, and we're talking about the tribes that are in the area and going way back in the history of the land and really being able to understand and do an ancestral blessing and the trees and the animals and the herd of elk that run through the meadow every morning and the salmon that move up the stream and all of these things to say, well, how do we incorporate and honor all of this history? One of the things that we're really present to is the teen camp director pointed out to me is that the rate and the statistics of teenage suicide since the pandemic have been going up. About 6% in boys and shockingly 51% in girls. And so they have increased their medical team to include mental health to have resources at the camp because they expect that people will be bringing lots of stuff with them to be healed and to be released and all of these things. And so we started talking about how can we not just do a blessing of the land and recognition of the great history there, but how can we bring in those healing elements? And so we're in the process right now of writing and talking about a ceremony that will identify, like, what is the healing medicine that come from elk? What's the healing medicine that come from trees? What's the healing medicine that come from salmon? What's the healing medicine that comes from the earth and the sky and all of the different, in the four directions and all of that stuff, and present that in a way to the family groups and the ways in which the teens will be gathered, and then so that each teen that is there can identify and listen to their own body and say, and therefore, kind of out of this menu, what is the thing that is calling to you? What is the medicine that you need to invite into your experience as you're here on these sacred grounds this week? Call it in and invite yourself into that healing. Because here's the thing, beloveds, while our bodies remember the bruises and the bumps and the traumas and the experiences that we've had in life, the body also remembers its way home. Your body remembers its essence. Your body remembers its soul. I like to say it like this: wholeness is your nature. Evolution is your design. Wholeness is your nature. Your nature. You were born in wholeness. You were birthed from wholeness. You came out of the essence of wholeness. You are designed for evolution. You're designed to grow. You're designed to expand your thinking and your knowing and your resources and your belief system. Everything about you is about growing and evolving your intelligence, but your essence, your nature, is wholeness. Your body knows the way home. So whatever you're carrying, whatever collective bodies, bodies of identity that you belong to, whatever those bodies are carrying, those bodies know the way home. Every body knows its way home. And the way to get there is to simply pause long enough to listen. to give permission to feel, and to allow the body temple to guide us where it needs to go. And that begins by feeling and honoring every sensation in my body. I listen to its wisdom and follow its guidance as it leads me to wholeness. Let's say that together. Take a breath. I feel and honor every sensation in my body. I listen to its wisdom and follow its guidance as it leads me to wholeness. And so it is. Thank you. Peace and blessings.
There was a time in my life where I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, don't be discouraged, struggling trying to make it through another day. You gotta let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say: I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. Yes, my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Whoa! No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes! I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. One more time. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. Yes, my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Well, no more struggle, we'll do it. No more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Woo! Thank you, SLCA.
Yes, indeed. Let's give Victoria and Penelope another hand on that. I release and I let go. Yes. Reverend David, thank you again for that wonderful message. The body remembers. Yeah, thank you. It is now time to acknowledge our first-time visitors. So if you're here for the very first time at the Spiritual Living Center, we invite you to please stand. We have a gift for you when we need to get that gift to you. So, stand, please. Thank you. Oh, so wonderful to see you. Our ushers are handing you a gift just for you. And please join our welcome ambassador for fellowship in the lobby following the service. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for choosing the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta as part of your celebration today. As we enter our time of grateful giving, we want to thank each of you that faithfully gives to the Spiritual Living Center. You are appreciated. It is because of your contributions that we can continue to spread our message of oneness. So if you're inspired by this wonderful message today, please consider becoming a recurring pledger or give what is on your heart to give today. You can conveniently text your gift to 404-800-9467. You may also give with a credit card or on our website or by using our digital program with the QR code displayed on the screen. If you wish to give by cash or check, our ushers will be coming through the aisles shortly to receive your contributions. As you hold your pledge cards or give gifts near your heart, please join me in saying our grateful giving affirmation. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. Thank you so much.
Connect, grow, serve, and give. Living life where you belong. Connect, grow, serve, and give. Loving everyone. You belong.
Thank you, Penelope. Hi. I'm Mally Lapete. My pronouns are her and she, and I gladly serve as a member of the Creative Arts team. I'm excited to tell you about ways to connect, grow, serve, and give at our center. For more information about today's announcements, please take a moment to scan the QR code in front of you or the one displayed on your monitor. Remember to check our weekly email newsletter that comes out on Mondays now for all the ways to connect with SLCA during the week. If you're not currently receiving the newsletter and would like to, please speak with one of us following the service. It's free. SLCA will have a booth this year at the Atlanta Pride Festival in October, and there will be many opportunities for each of us to connect and serve with our community. If you'd like to be on our planning team, please speak with one of us for more details. And check out our bake sale in the lobby today for some delicious treats to take home. All proceeds will go towards our booth at the festival this year. Have you had the opportunity to join Reverend Ursula Lentini for meditation? Twin Hearts meets every Tuesday right here at 7 p.m. in person at SLCA or via Zoom. Reverend Susan Zoller would like to invite you to her online gathering, Living the Science of Mind, taking place each Wednesday at 7 p.m. This week's the weekly gathering is ready to meet you where this weekly gathering is ready to meet you where you are in your spiritual growth. We're always growing. SLCA is honored to welcome Dahlia Kinsey next Sunday, June 26th, for a book signing immediately following the service. Dahlia is a registered dietitian and author of the book Decolonizing Wellness, a QTBI POC-centered guide to escape the diet trap, heal your self-image, and achieve body liberation. Please join us and stay afterwards to meet and greet with Dahlia as we wrap up our monthly theme on the body. We need your Yelp, Yelp. Yes, that is right. Help us spread the message of the wonderful things that are happening here at SLCA by going to Yelp and leaving a review. It's fun. Please plan now to join Chris Adams and Monique Garlington for a hike on Saturday, July 9th. For more information, connect with them after the service to find out more in our weekly newsletter, including how to stay cool. Yeah. We'd like to thank our loyal pledgers and each of you that faithfully give to SLCA. To find ways to connect, grow, serve, and give, visit our digital program or our information wall in the lobby after the service where all those baked goods are. Will all our practitioners stand or make yourself known in the online chat at this time? To be recognized, we welcome each of you in need of prayer to remain in this room or reach out to a practitioner online for one-on-one prayer with a licensed practitioner. In-person practitioners will be available on both sides of the sanctuary following this service. Thank you for joining us this morning. We look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Valerie. We're going to close with music. How does that sound, right? Come on, get on your feet. Let's go to the bake sale. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a world that works for everyone. I know you're gonna buy me a cookie, right? See a world that works for everyone. Have a great weekend, everybody.